My name is Sheila Lamb, and I'm with the Virginia SBDC Network. For those of you that are not familiar with our organization, the Virginia Small Business Development Center is a partnership program between the U.S. Small Business Administration, George Mason University, and local host institutions throughout Virginia. With 27 locations across the Commonwealth, we provide training and technical assistance to small businesses in their local communities. Our one-on-one advising services are available at no charge. Today's webinar, New Year, New Business, Tips on How to Implement Cybersecurity for Small Businesses, is presented by the Virginia SBDC Network. We are recording today's presentation, and it will be posted on our website, virginiasbdc.org. Due to the large number of participants, everyone's microphone is muted, but if you have questions during the presentation, you can type those into the Q&A box. We have also enabled the live transcript function, which you can show or hide via your own meeting controls. And now it is my pleasure to introduce our presenter for today's session, Kiana Gainey. Kiana is a 20-plus year IT and cybersecurity industry veteran and has served as Chief Executive Officer for Secure Tech 360, located in Springfield, Virginia, since its inception in 2010. Ms. Gainey is also the Cyber Industry Specialist for the Virginia SBDC. Kiana, take it away.
Thank you, Sheila, and welcome everyone to New Year, New Business. As we begin the presentation, I want to first applaud you for even taking the first initial step by using cybersecurity, by putting cybersecurity at the forefront of your business today and starting off your new year. Next slide. So today we'll just go over some tips on if you haven't started or you don't have any cybersecurity for your small business. We want to leave you with some tips and some tricks to be able to start, to jumpstart it, or even just take a step back and just look and see what you already have and see how you can improve things for your small business. We'll have a Q&A at the end, and you can also put your questions in the chat as we go along. At the end, I'll give you some contact information and some additional links to be able to continue the discussion on cybersecurity and how to get started and what to do for your small business. Next slide. So a little bit about me. As Sheila mentioned, I've been doing IT and cybersecurity for about 20 plus years. And I am also a small business owner and I also run a nonprofit. So I understand as a small business owner, some of the things that it takes to continue to have cybersecurity at the forefront of your business. And I also have been able to practice it as well. So any questions or anything that you have, issues or things that you have encountered, I can probably walk you through majority of them. And even as with my new role with the Virginia SBDC, there is a wealth of information that's available via the website. There's previous webinars, there's links to other resources. So please take a moment when we're done to look at the website. There's additional information there as well. Next slide. So let's jump right in. So just some few tips on how to start to implement or to, if you have some things in place, to just take a look under the hood and see what you can do to improve your cybersecurity for your small business. The first thing I would recommend is do an assessment. The assessment will help you be able to understand what privacy laws, what additional information you will need to apply to your business. And don't just think about things that are happening locally. Think about things that are happening on a national level, any global regulations. If your small business is handling anything like credit card information or sensitive information, how would you want that information to be collected? How would you like that information to be protected? And also how you will be able to manage that type of data that you're using within your organization. So just doing a simple assessment with your employees or even with yourself. Sometimes we're just a small business owner, we can be party of one, or maybe just one or two employees. You can still do the same assessment. Just look at what you're doing in your day-to-day business and seeing what ways you can improve, or you can implement some cybersecurity best practices for your small business. Also, when you're doing your risk assessment, look and see what kind of measures or things you can put into place to make sure that if you're collecting personal information, even if you're collecting personal information on your employees or your customers, making sure there are certain security measures that are in place to protect the information. It could be as simple as having a safe on site at your organization and filing those sensitive information away, or even if you're having visitors or people or packages being delivered to your site, having some type of log of what's being delivered or who's coming in and out of your site. Those are just general things that you can do for physical security. And then also, if you do have, if you're using any type of technology, you can also put together a way to be able to monitor your audit logs to see, what type of things are happening with your employees or even with your customers. And then also, if you are collecting information, I always say, think about it if your own personal information. When you are gathering information, make sure that you are only collecting things that are relevant and legitimate for the purposes that they serve. So don't try to collect so much information that you don't have a way to manage it. So if for your business needs, if you only need to collect, let's say, like your customers' email or their name, and you don't necessarily need their address, don't actually collect things that you don't need. And then also, if you are using any partners or vendors to help, with your business practices, make sure that if they have like service level agreements, or if they have information on their websites about like how their data is being collected, how they're using said data, make sure that you take some time and review all of those, all that information that's provided to you from your partners and vendors, and then incorporate that into your practices. And then also, if you have employees, educate your employees about how your partners and vendors are also collecting information. And then also just adopt a privacy framework. There are several privacy frameworks that you can take advantage of that can help manage and also create a culture within your organization that takes privacy very seriously. So there's a few, NIST has a privacy framework. ISO has some standards as well. And then we'll have some links. If not, at the end of the presentation, we'll include them in an email as we send out the presentation, so you can go out and check and see which privacy framework will work best for you. And then also, it's just simple things that you can do. If you're still using passwords, use a complex passwords. I know sometimes we have so many passwords and it's easy to type, sometimes to use things that we're familiar with. Always say, use like a phrase that only you would know. And then change some of the numbers, add some characters, just make it as strengthen your password as with information that you know that no one else will be able to guess. But don't make it so stringent that you forget it yourself. And then also just put into practice about changing your passwords frequently. It doesn't have to be every week. It doesn't even have to probably be monthly, but at least on a quarterly basis, put a policy and procedure in place where you're regularly changing your passwords. So if in the event that something is happening, you'll be able to catch it in real time. And then also, if you see suspicious emails, most of the email service providers have ways of filtering out suspicious emails. But if something looks off, like if you look at the actual email and there's a couple of letters or characters that seem a little fishy, or if there's some content in there that seems like, okay, I may know this, but I'm not sure about this, always say, do not click something that you're not familiar with, just to keep yourself and your organization safe. And then also, update your devices. I know I'm guilty of it. You see the message that comes up to say it's time to update, or there's a new update that's available on your device. More than likely, those updates are there because there's additional security features that has been deployed to help keep you safe. So, make sure that you're updating your devices regularly. And then also, if you can use any virus protection, I will highly recommend. I mean, most of the ones that are on the market, that's been on the market for a while, McAfee or Norton, they have subscription services that you can use. And then even some of your service provider have some built-in security as well. Utilize as many things or many resources that are available to you based on some of the internet service providers or any of the other technology providers that you're using. A lot of them also have additional security features as well that you can take advantage of. And then also back up your data. Oh, back up your data. I can give you so many horror stories about someone losing connection to a server, and they go back and everything is gone. And the first thing, you know, as a security professional, we come in and we say, well, we try to figure out what, when, and how, what happened. And if we have to go back and do a recovery and there's no backup, sometimes information that has been, you've been working on for a very long time have been lost. And if you just had a simple procedure in place about backing up your data regularly, the simplest way to back your data is sometimes it's even on like an external hard drive, or you can also use some of subscription services that are available that you can utilize to be able to back up. And it can be incremental. It doesn't have to be whole backups. It can be incremental backups, but make sure you're backing up your data. And then last but not least, even if you're backing up your data, make sure you have a policy in place to test said backups. I could tell you a million horror stories where even the organizations had a backup, and then when we tried to restore to that backup, the backup was corrupt. And usually the next question is how often do you back up your data? Oh, well, we started off great. We were backing up quarterly, and now we're backing up annually, and no one has been able to do the backups. So just make sure that you are backing up your data regularly. And then keep your devices physically secure, right? Never leave your computer.
Hello, everyone. I think we lost Kiana. It looks like she's trying to get back in. I hope you can hang tight for one moment. Hopefully we can get her back on and continue. So I'm trying to chat with her now and get her back in. So one moment, please. Okay, I think we have totally lost Kiana. I'm not even getting a response in the chat from her. If you guys can hang out for one more minute, I'm gonna try another way to reach her. And if we can't get her back on, I'm not sure what happened. I am guessing it's something on her end. I will just reschedule. I apologize. So I'm gonna try to reach out to her another way and see if we can get her back in here. Okay, one moment. Oh, there she is.
My apologies. I'm back. I don't know what happened, but nevertheless, that's why it's good to have a backup. Next slide. Okay. So just to wrap it on up, 10 cybersecurity tips for your small business. Number one, train your employees, educate your employees on security principles, protect your information from potential cyber attacks. If you can, implement some type of firewall security for your internet connection. If you're using mobile devices, make sure you have an action plan like we kind of discussed about what type of policies and procedures or things you'll have in place for employees who are, doing remote work or also who take mobile devices on travel. Make backup copies of important business data and information. I can't stress this enough. Even for myself, we do, even if I have something that's on my computer, I am still a little old school where I will print out very vital information data about my company and I leave it in a safe. So in the event of, and it's a fire safe as well. So in the event of an emergency, if I had to get some more vital information about my business, I have it in two places, not just everything on a computer. Also, we talked about this a little bit before, control physical access. So if you have an organization where you have a lot of foot traffic, control the access for only employees, and then also make sure that if you do have people that are coming in out your organization, always say it's a great best practice is to have a visitor log so you can know what went how. In the case of something, if the incident happens, you can kind of go back to see who was where at what time and kind of figure out what happened. Secure your Wi-Fi networks if you can. If you're using payment cards, make sure you're looking at all the best practices on how to secure those payment cards. Limit employee access. So all employees should not have access to all data. So if you're doing financial work, you should have information just to financial work. If you're doing work with HR, human resources, you should only have information about human resources and not necessarily financial, right? Limit the authority to have employees be able to install software. Because if you're not testing set software, it can also create issues. Within your entire environment. So, and then also passwords, we talked a little bit about that. Make sure that you are implementing a strong password policy, that you're at least changing your passwords at least on a quarterly basis or on if an event happens or something happens that you are aware of, always say, change your passwords immediately if you can. Next slide. So implementing cybersecurity for your small business is very essential. It's very crucial. It has become mainstream. I remember starting 20 years ago when cybersecurity was just kind of an afterthought. And I think sometimes even as myself, even with me as being a small business owner, I know that we have like a million and one things that we're concerned about. But cybersecurity should be one of the most important and crucial things to your business, because a lot of things that we do online now, even as a small business owner, we do a lot of things. We do our email, we are taking credit cards, we are shopping online. Most of our lives now are online. And although you think that, technology is great has many great aspects, there are people that hackers or people that want to do harm on the internet, and they're targeting even small businesses. And it can not necessarily be for your data, or maybe it could be something that you're connected to. So just keep that in mind, because even as a small business, you want to be more proactive than reactive, because taking a proactive approach will help you be prepared for emergencies and things that are happening. You don't want to be, you'll end up spending more money being reactive, trying to recover after an incident has happened, or trying to implement some cybersecurity policies or procedures when there's things that you could have done on the front end. There's a wealth of information and websites that are available to small businesses that you can take advantage of to help you create a security plan for your business, to help you create an incident response plan for your business, how to do backup and data recovery, or being able to have some training for your employees, just how you would train your employees on every day-to-day interaction for your small business. Implementing some cybersecurity is also crucial. Any employees, even with myself, any new employees that come into my organization, they sign a rules of behavior. The rules of behavior states what they can do with the equipment that is issued to them, what to do in case of an emergency, what point of contact to reach out. And then based on the initial security training, I also do quarterly training. I also implement it in my staff meetings, just to keep cybersecurity on the forefront of our organization. And then we also, test our security plan. We test our backup and data and recovery plans, at least on a quarterly or annual basis. Or if an incident occurs, we use that as lessons learned to figure out what we did wrong, what we could do better, or some things that maybe was out of our control, but what we could have had in place to be able to prevent it happening in the future. So having some type of defense in depth, and when I say defense in depth, I mean having a mixture of having a firewall, antivirus, some type of authentication protocols. You're seeing them now even with your bank, where if you're trying to log into your bank, they'll send you a text message with a code. Those are additional steps that they are using now to be able to keep you safe while you're banking or while you're accessing your website. Finally, if I don't leave you with anything else, providing some form of cybersecurity training to your staff so that they can understand the importance of cybersecurity and data security, and also how you guys can implement a security plan is very crucial. So any questions? I think I had one.
Yep. Okay. I'm here. So I don't know where my visual is now, but hopefully can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know where but that's okay. So one of the questions was, what are some good free web protection?
Free web protection. So anything free, I always say, I like to use the word complimentary. Most services will provide you probably maybe 30 days of like a trial to try their services. I would go that route first, but with any type of technology or anything that you're implementing, make sure you read the fine print. Make sure you also read some of the reviews. That's the beauty of the internet now. When you're booking a hotel or anything, I always go right to the reviews from the people that went ahead of me and see what their experience was, because that will probably give you a lot of insight on things that you can look forward to. But there are a lot of security that's built into some of the technology that you're using. So I would start there first. Those things are built in, not necessarily free. So like if you're using Outlook or using a Microsoft product, they have some security features within that product. So you can just go and look and see, what type of security features they have built in. And then also, again, do your research to make sure that you don't want your organization to be so secure that you lock your stuff out, but you don't want it to be so loose that anyone can get in. So I always say there's somewhere in the middle.
Okay, great. So another one, Rose said, great information. What are some tips on how to conduct the initial assessment that you, I guess, referred to earlier?
Yes. So it can be as simple as putting together a checklist for your organization. I always say, like, make a list of all of the critical items in your business, pairing them with what type of security that you will need for those important portions of your business, right? It could be having a in your staff meetings, speaking with your employees to see what type of things that they're encountering. Is it are they getting a lot of emails that look suspicious? Are they encountering a lot of spam? Are they getting some weird phone calls from different countries? Like, it could be it can be a list of things. We also do have, as an SBDC client, that's available to you as a great resource. It's called Posture. In the Posture program, it helps you kind of organize what your initial assessment would be. It also has some training there as well. And it is a complimentary resource that's available to you all. And that's available via the website that can help get you started as well.
So I think you kind of addressed this. Can you please provide some suggestions on cybersecurity trainings? So
yes, yeah.
Yep.
So our website has a lot of information that can help you either put together something specific for your organization, or it can even just give you a baseline to be able to see, like, what important ingredients to put in your cybersecurity training. And then there's Posture that can help you as well.
What do you think of malware bites? Any impressions?
So, malware bites. So, again, there's a lot of different things that are out there that can assist with your business. So, I always say, think about your business and what protections you will need for said business, right? So, some folks like to layer their security with having firewall protections, antivirus protection. They like to do scanning frequently in their environment to make sure that their products or services, or even the things that they're using in their environment, is protected. So it's really on a case-by-case basis on what is the best method or best tools that are available. Anything that we don't endorse any specific product. So I always say, do your research as a small business owner. I know as a small business owner, our resources are very scarce. So anything that you're spending money to improve your security posture, I would recommend you do your homework, you do your research, use any complimentary free trials, anything first before making the final commit. So date before you marry. Date before you marry.
I like that. Okay, so this question was Cynthia. Cynthia, if you, hopefully you're still here and you can correct me if I'm saying this wrong. Do you have any suggestions for protecting LOT? And I don't know if you mean things like printers. We are considering Microsoft Defender for cloud apps.
So I have, we don't endorse any products, but I have heard great things about Microsoft Defender. It has been around for a while, and usually things that have been around for a while have kind of stood the test of time. But again, I would say, take a look under the hood, make sure it's something that's specific that can help your business. Read the reviews. If you have the bandwidth or the capability to have like a test environment to test new products prior to deploying them into your production or your live environments, do that as well. I always say, test before you hit the button. So test it all, do your research to make sure that it's the best fit for you and your business.
Next question. I have an at-home business. I have internet through my cable provider and McAfee virus protection. Is that sufficient, or should I look into something more advanced? This person has a website design business.
Okay, so applaud yourself for having something. You'll be surprised. There's a lot of small businesses, especially ones that are home-based, don't even have McAfee as a virus protection. So that is a layer of security that you're implementing. You have internet through my cable provider. That's very common as well. Because you have a web design business, depending if you're using, if you have a website, I would say make sure that you're using like a website that has like a SSL certificate to make sure you have another level of security as well. But I think just for you, just getting started, depending on as you grow, you will probably have to implement some additional things. But if you're using some other products, just make sure that there is some built-in security features for those products. See how you can implement them as well. And it could be as simple as in making sure, like we talked about, using things like strong passwords for anything that you're using for your business as well, and to make sure you're changing those regularly. If you have the capability to do backups, you can start backing up some of the data or any vital information that you have for on your clients, making sure that you're keeping that protected. So just some small tips and things that we kind of went over today, in addition to what you have in place. I think it's a great start. Like with anything, we can always do better. But I'm glad that you at least have McAfee.
Okay. The next question is, how do I make sure a vendor I'm using is incorporating cybersecurity?
Ooh, that's a great question. So before you hire said vendor, you can ask to see their privacy policies. You can even ask the question, how are you protecting my business? What security practices do you have in place to protect my business? One popular thing that I'm seeing now with a lot of small business owners, and there's some content and also some previous videos on our website about using some cyber risk insurance, even for yourself as a small business, or even if you have additional insurance that's in place, seeing if they have some additional protections for cybersecurity, or using some type of data protection. You can also do that for yourself, but also before you hire anyone, you can always ask the question about their privacy policies. And if they have something that's on their website, it's usually at the very bottom where they have like a little section about their privacy policies. Take the time to read it, because there's some vital information in there.
Great. What are your thoughts on static IP for protection?
So depending on the nature of your business, if you want to use static IPs, there's pros and cons with anything. The pros for using static IPs is that you're not using a dynamic IP that's constantly changing. You're using something that is pretty consistent. I've seen that work in environments where there's usually a one-to-one, where you want, like maybe you have a printer that you want to be able to, print directly to, and that one device is going to that device and there's nothing happening in between. So depending on the nature of your business, it could be a plus for you. But again, make sure that whatever you're doing within your business is something that's providing you protection and not making you more vulnerable.
Great. Is there a template checklist that small business owners can use as a baseline to cover the basic requirements? If there isn't, where can we identify these requirements?
Yes. So there are some links that we have at the end of the presentation. I think federal FTC has a lot of great checklists for small business.
I have those up right now, Kiana. I have those up right now. So
yeah. So take a look at all those links there. They have some great templates and checklists that you can use. And what I found with some small business owners, I know when you see those checklists, you're like, there's no way I can do all of these things, right? So just like with anything, if you are taking on a new project at your house, maybe you can't afford to do the complete kitchen upgrade. Maybe you could just start with some new appliances, or maybe you can just start with the new refrigerator, or maybe, hey, I only have enough paint money to just paint the the cabinets, just to give me, a new look. So with same thing when you're looking and trying to implement something additional to your small business. Those checklists sometimes can be just a combination of a whole bunch of best practices. Be sure to just kind of check through some things that you can do and then create a plan on how to implement those things. So maybe, the month of February, I will only be able to do creating a policy for password management. And maybe I will just start doing cybersecurity training. And then next month, I will start reviewing different antivirus software to use. Or maybe I'll start looking to see so just kind of make a checklist that you, one, can commit and complete, and two, that won't take up resources that you don't have, right? So we don't want you to go out of business trying to stay secure, but we want to keep you in business by putting in place some type of security practices. So I always say take the practical approach.
I'd like to add that those links and resources that are on the screen will be provided in the follow-up email that goes out within the next couple of days. So you all will have them as an easy resource for you. And it looks like we have one more question. Okay. Any thoughts on how cybersecurity supply chain risk management planning will impact small businesses? Government requirements are imminent, but seems like a lot of the guidance does not apply.
So yes. As you're going to start seeing a lot of requirements coming from, I'm also a government contractor as well. And there are a lot of new requirements that are going to be, that are being put in place to help small businesses be able to do business with the government. There is I don't think I have that up on the screen, but there is a great resource now that DoD has in place that put out a lot of great guidance for small businesses to help with some of your planning, to be able to put some things in place. And as you start looking through the requirements, some of the things that we talked about, they talk about password management. They talk about making sure that you have a backup and data recovery plan, making sure you're testing set backups, making sure that you're doing employee training. Very baseline things that you could probably get started now. Again, Posture is a great service that we have for you as well that you can utilize. So as you're starting to see a lot of things happening in real time as it relates to cybersecurity, you're starting to see the government and agencies take forefront on making sure that we're keeping us as a whole safe, and small businesses, although we don't have the budgets or the things to do some of the things, there are some things that we can do to at least get a security posture that we can at least make sure that we are protecting ourselves and our employees and also our customers. So I always say, just, I always do like Google alerts for myself. So like something about cybersecurity, supply risk management, if that's something that's top of mind for you, make sure that you put together like a Google alert. So any type of new guidance that comes out about it, you are keeping abreast of. And then, making sure that you're creating a plan to be able to implement those things for your small business. Yeah, I know it's tough. When I saw some of the things on the list, I was like, okay, so where are we going to get the money for this? So I understand.
Thank you. Okay, so I don't see any other questions. Folks, if you have anything, go ahead and pop it in the Q&A now, and we'll get those answered.
I'm looking to see if we missed anything. Yeah. Okay. I think we got them.
Good. Okay. Oh, wait. Is that you scrolling? Oh, wait. Let's see. Okay. Here is. Do you see that?
Yes. So I will make sure that I send that to Sheila, and we can put that in the slides as they go out. Yeah. Someone sent that to me the other day. And they had some resources that were that spoke right to small businesses about how to be prepared about some of the new requirements, especially as a government contractor, being a small business government contractor. There's some things that you can put in place fairly easily So just don't look at the checklist and get freaked out.
Mhm.
You know, I always say just eat the elephant, you know, one bite at a time.
Great.
So you guys have been a great audience. We have, so just, you know, applaud yourself for taking the first step as part of your new year and your New Year's resolution. We are in the second month of 2023, and the fact that you've taken some time today, probably during your lunch, to come to get some information says that you are taking cybersecurity serious, and I appreciate you have been a wonderful audience. We have some additional webinars coming up. So just stay tuned, and we may have some that may be specific to your industry, or may just be able to go into a deeper dive on some of the things that we talked about today. So as always, we're here. There's my information. You can always shoot me an email. There's the link to the website where there is a lot of information from past webinars, information about how to sign up for future webinars, information about posture that we mentioned, and a wealth of information and additional links to be able to help get you started. So Virginia SBDC is definitely dedicated to making sure that the small business owner have some tools and things in place to help them keep cybersecurity as a forefront or a new business requirement for your small business. So thank you.
Great. Thank you, Kiana. I'd also like to thank everyone for attending today and for hanging in there with our little glitch. I'm glad, Kiana, that you made it back, and I'm glad folks stuck around for it. So as a reminder, you will receive an email with a link to the recording and to the slides and to those resources that Kiana shared, including the DoD. If you would like to sign up for upcoming webinars or access recorded webinars, please visit virginiasbdc.org/training. This webinar and other SBDC resources are designed to be used in collaboration with your local SBDC advisors. You can sign up for a free and confidential session by emailing help@virginiasbdc.org or via our website. We do hope to see you at our next session. Take care, everyone.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye-bye.